Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from avocadoodoo who says, thinking of stepping down as maid of honor. A fiance is making it unbearable. A former colleague who I'm friendly with but not super close to asked me to be one of her 2 maids of honor. We've only met around 20 times in 2.5 years, so I was surprised but flattered and saw it as a chance to grow our friendship. Since then, she started calling me her best friend, which feels premature and not mutual. I've met her fiance a few times and frankly, we don't get along. He gossips, comes off insecure, and has been rude to me and others. He also micromanages everything. As maid of honors, we're organizing 3 events: a bachelorette, the civil wedding will follow this year, and a religious one in 2026. The bride initially said she wanted a low-key bachelorette focused on quality time. We kept that in mind. Then her fiance began making specific demands: private bed/bath for the bride, enough breaks between activities, etc. We adjusted our plans accordingly. Now, 2 weeks out from the bachelorette, he demanded our full itinerary, said it wasn't good enough and told us to start over. He aggressively messaged the other maid of honor, said we're denying the bride the weekend she deserves, and insulted one of the girls in the group, calling her a dumb bitch. When we explained we were keeping costs reasonable, at the bride's request, he dismissed our concerns, saying others' financial situations weren't his problem. Bear in mind, this man is not working, not earning a living, not paying for anything, and especially not their wedding. The irony. We reminded him that both maid of honors were chosen to plan this and he should trust us. He refused, implying that we're failing as her best friends. I'm not excluding the possibility of him doing this and the bride giving him hints or instructions in the background because she is not comfortable with confrontation or saying her mind. I'm burned out. I don't even know why I was chosen in the first place. I want to support the bride, but I can't tolerate this level of disrespect. Neither do I want to help plan another 2 bridal events in such a tense atmosphere. My plan is to follow through with the bachelorette, then tell the bride I'm stepping down as maid of honor. Ideally, I would be uninvited to the wedding, but that will be up to her. Anyone have any suggestions on how to approach this situation? Now, obviously there's a lot of red flags in one post here. The way she speed ran your friendship to you becoming best friend and then maid of honor really quickly. The fiance's behavior in this, trying to manage her bachelorette, even though he's not attending, insulting the friends about it, called someone a dumb bitch. Really concerning from him, obviously. It's just the controlling behavior from him that's absolutely jumping out to me. You know, this is a bachelorette, but imagine what the rest of her life is going to be like when they're married. And it may seem harsh, but I'd be absolutely dropping out of this. The dumb bitch comment in itself is enough to just say, no, I'm out, and I'll be telling the bride, this is exactly what he said, and this is why we're out. But new auntie says step down, as it makes no sense that a casual friend like you were made maid of honor. She could have invited you as an ordinary bridesmaid, but it still doesn't make a ton of sense. People think it's such an honor, but you're unpaid labor to make sure someone else enjoys their special day. I think you showing great restraint by quitting prior to the bachelorette, but I agree that if you did quit before, it'd ruin the event. Opie says we used to work together. I think she made me maid of honor because she knows I get shit done, and well. Someone else in the comments said that she is using me, and that starts to resonate. EMR says, I don't mean this badly about you at all, but it's telling that she asked someone that she doesn't know that well to be her bridesmaid. I'm wondering if other people said no or dropped out already because of him. Hope she wises up before she marries him. I'd say that it's no longer doable for you to be a bridesmaid, but you'll come as a guest if she'll have you. Give specifics about what he is doing that caused you to come to this decision, and let her know that you're here for her if she needs anything. Opie says agreed. It'd be important to be factual as to my decision and still offer my presence. To be fair, after all this, I'm not keen on being in his vicinity and would rather not attend the wedding at all. But that will be their call whether or not they decide to keep me as a guest. OCPMS says, what other events are you supposed to plan? The bride and groom are supposed to plan their own events, except bachelor parties and bridal showers if there is one. Opie says the bride expects our support in planning both the civil and religious weddings, dealing with location, sourcing and coordinating vendors, setting up and taking down decor, organizing surprises for guests. Zapesa says, to be honest, I would screenshot the message of the groom cursing at you and the other maid of honor, send them to the bride and tell her you're stepping down, and not even wait till the bachelorette. Unless you've already sunk money into it, then I understand waiting. Opie says the money I've already put into it is not worth my peace. Also, he's coming along and I can't stomach a multiple-hour train ride with him. Micro Bunny says, what do you mean he's coming to the bachelorette party? Like, are they having a dual bachelor/bachelorette or is he just coming? Opie says the groom has taken advantage of the situation to visit a friend in the city we're going to. We are traveling together but staying in different accommodations. I don't put it past him to randomly join the bachelorette unannounced though. Someone asks OP, the rest of the bridal party is a mixed bag. There are old colleagues, study friends she's not close to, and one is the groom's friend's wife. I can hardly believe that no one in the group is closer to her than I am, except for the other maid of honor who she's known since childhood and is very close to. I definitely want to let her know that I'm still there and she can reach out at any time. I just can't morally support this relationship and this idiot's behavior. Opie then edits the post and says thanks for all your insights. It was helpful to have my suspicions validated whilst figuring out an exit strategy. It's Monday morning. I've messaged the groom asking him to stop intervening in the planning and to take a step back for the sake of the other maid of honor. I've also messaged the bride asking to meet tomorrow in person. Gee whiz, him actually being in the same town as the bachelorette just seems way too odd for me, and that he's purposely being in the same town and he will bump into them, in my opinion. But Opie does update the post and says, first, thanks for all your feedback which comforted me and gave me the confidence I needed to step down ASAP. The morning after posting, I messaged the groom asking him to take a step back as he made me and the other maid of honor feel uncomfortable. Things escalated. He was being very defensive, listing everything he said/did, pointing to me being in the wrong instead of finding a way forward, and eventually apologized for making me feel uncomfortable. I did not respond to his apology. In parallel, I messaged the bride and we agreed to meet the next day. In the meantime, the groom must have brought it up to the bride as she texted me letting me know she heard things became tense and that we don't all hate each other now. I replied that this is the reason I need to talk to her. The bride and I met up yesterday evening. I told her I was flattered to have been chosen as maid of honor, but in hindsight, I should not have accepted. I explained that the situation blew out of proportions and her fiance crossed the line. He exhibited controlling behavior and was downright disrespectful. I shared that I can't be in a bridal party if I'm not treated with respect and if I don't morally support the relationship. I told her that this is not a breakup per se. I still want to be friends with her, but she deserves a maid of honor who can fully be there for the two of them. I also mentioned that the ball is now in her court as to how our friendship moves forward and if she still wants me there at the wedding. Her reaction was so underwhelming. She was smiling through it and saying it's okay. She said that her fiance talked to her about the situation, mentioning that things escalated. According to her, he was pretty shaken up. No shit, I bet he forgot to mention he instigated all of it. I'm not sure if I expected her to take accountability for her fiance's actions, but she did not apologize for what he said. Nothing. She seemed so unfazed when he said he disrespected me. She did not ask about the things that were said, did not mention she would speak with him either. This speaks volumes to me. I wouldn't want my friends to feel disrespected by anyone, let alone my spouse. She said she understood my decision and she sort of expected it because she has never been in one bachelorette party that didn't end up in drama. In terms of logistics, she had it all figured out. She asked me not to cancel any hotel room because her fiance will officially be joining the bachelorette party anyway. He was initially supposed to travel with us but stay in a different accommodation with a friend. Because of the heated situation, she opened up and said she doesn't expect the maid of honor to even attend the wedding unless there can be a resolution between her and the groom. I was again flabbergasted. I would have so many questions if two friends would have a problem with my spouse at the same time and would consider not coming to my wedding because of it. I understand she is marrying this man and decided that her marriage takes precedence over the rest, fair enough, but I would find this suspicious and use it as an opportunity to dig deeper and get to the bottom of the situation. I reiterated that I'm there for her, just not in a maid of honor capacity. We left on good terms, but I wouldn't be surprised if this marks the end of a short-lived friendship. I later called with the other maid of honor to inform her about my decision. Turns out, she has also been thinking of stepping down. It's such a relief to be out of this mess. I'm not great with heavy discussion, so I appreciate every one of you for pushing me to step down and speak to the bride ASAP. Edits. I cancelled the hotel room and let the bride know she would need to book her own rooms. She did not respond, but I later received a notification that her fiance kicked me and my husband out of the WhatsApp wedding group. That served as a save the date for the civil wedding. I later learned that the bride asked the maid of honor to step down. She was also uninvited to the wedding. Claromancer says, sounds like the bride is too comfortable around drama. She isn't curious about the details of how you were treated and also doesn't seem to grasp the gravity of the situation. If I were in her shoes, I'd be freaking out and apologizing for my fiance's behavior and reconsidering the relationship. OP says same. I'd want to know exactly what went on and reevaluate. Either she is complacent with his behavior, either she turns a blind eye because she doesn't want to face reality and jeopardize a relationship. Crazy for Swayze says, have you ever considered she already knows everything and just accepts it as being okay? I agree with everything you said, but all her responses tell me she knows what's going on and just keeps picking him and ignoring the rest. That's at least what it seemed like to me, from what you wrote. Opie says yes, that is certainly likely. Maybe it also makes her feel special that someone is fighting for her, making it look as though he's putting her needs before everything else. And obviously the majority of the comments were saying that Opie is doing the right thing by stepping down in this situation. Some people suspecting that, she's in an abusive relationship and doesn't quite realize it herself yet, but still doesn't blame OP for backing away, looking after themselves in this situation. But what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Carrie Early 1344, and it says, am I the arsehole for refusing to give my former son a second chance? Throwaway account. I, 48 male, found out my ex, 49 female, had cheated on me, and that the two children she had given birth to, 23 female and 21 male, only the girl was mine. I filed for divorce and my ex tried for reconciliation, but I couldn't live with so much doubt. Once we got to court, it was like a switch had flipped and she tried to keep me from the children. It didn't work though. I had really good lawyers. In spite of everything, I was still willing to be a father to Noah, fake name, but my ex can be very manipulative. She told Noah about his real dad and even introduced them. Since then I became strict fake dad, while he was cool real dad. When Noah was 13, he told me that he no longer wanted to see me, and that I'd tell a judge the same thing if I forced visitation. I asked him why and if I ever made him feel bad. Noah just said he wanted to spend more time with his real dad and didn't like my house rules. I was heartbroken, but I let him go and still made attempts to keep the relationship. I called, texted, sent presents, and even invited him to events. Noah wouldn't respond or pass more messages to his sister. When Noah was 18, he legally changed his surname to his father's and told me there wasn't enough room for me to attend his graduation. After that, I gave up and resolved myself to live life with being a father to my daughter and son, 12 male, via my second wife. Recently, Noah reached out to me and apologized for his past actions and wanted a relationship again. I was surprised and heavily skeptical, and was right to be so. Apparently, Noah's real dad got married and his wife gave him an ultimatum, and he chose her. I told Noah that while I'm sorry for what happened to him, I had no interest in being treated like an old pair of gloves that you only think about and wear when it gets cold. My ex thinks I'm being hurtful and petty. Rich coming from her. And my daughter says that she understands my pain but hopes that I can learn to give Noah a second chance. I don't know because I'm in a place where I'm fine not having Noah in my life or having any communication with him. I don't want to rekindle a relationship just for him to drop me again when his real dad changes his mind. Am I the arsehole? Galaxy said not the arsehole. While I completely understand everyone else's reasoning, I feel many are missing the most important point. Noah did not reach out because he saw the error of his ways / saw how his mother manipulated him against you. No. Noah is reaching out because his real dad tossed him aside. While it is certainly possible that event opened Noah's eyes, As outsiders, it's easy just to say, forgive him, he's just a kid. Being the person hurt is not so easy to just do it when the event is making you feel like a backup plan in any kind of relationship, much less a father-son one. Having said that, while I wouldn't blame you for not accepting him at all, the most respectful thing for everyone involved would be to let the initial shock and anger subside, then arrange a meet-up and talk to him. During that conversation, hear him out and figure out for yourself. Is Noah reaching out because this opened his eyes, or is it out of anger and resentment at his real dad and using you as a replacement? Opie says, I feel like I'm just a replacement, or worse, a holder, until his real dad changes his mind. Commenter says to OP, do you think you could ask him what he would do if that happened? Opie says, I've thought about asking him that, but honestly, do I think I would believe him if he told me he was genuinely sorry and would still want a relationship with me regardless whether his dad was in the picture or not? The name change was a big gesture against me. Dinev says not the arsehole. He's already 21 years old. He had plenty of time to reconnect with you, but chose to do it now because his dad dropped him. His mum may have manipulated him when he was a kid, but he had plenty enough time to realize that when he became an adult. Also, I don't get why his dad's wife would give his dad an ultimatum. He's an adult. Why an ultimatum was needed? Does he live with his dad? Is dad paying for his expenses? If it's about money, then sorry to say, but he's only trying to reconnect with you because of the money. Don't let anyone guilt trip you. Stay firm to what you want. Opie says, I honestly don't know why his dad was given an ultimatum. He literally stopped talking to me directly when he was a teen and then ceased all other form of contact once he was 18. He had to ask my daughter for my phone number. TMS says, your son, because he is your son, he was for more than half of his life. You were in the hospital on the day he was born. You changed his diapers. You're his dad, like it or not. Was a middle schooler when he decided to cut you out of his life. I think maybe your interpretation of his motivations may not be correct. There's a pretty strong chance that when he saw that his bio dad would think nothing of giving up his relationship with him for a girl, it reminded him of the dad who never stopped trying to love him, even when he didn't really want that love, and made him realize what he'd lost. At 21, he's still very young, and it sounds like he wants his dad back. Sure, it could end in the two of you yelling at each other and never speaking again, but there is also a very significant chance that this could be the start of rekindling a relationship. I don't think there would ever be a situation where you would say, oh damn, I wish I hadn't reconnected with my long-lost son. You're lucky and there's only been 8 years. It will be much harder to reconnect if you reject him now, just like his bio dad did, and decide when he's 40 you'd actually like him in your life. I think it's fair to say that if the vast majority of 7th grade boys had a choice between a rules and stability dad or a fun no rules dad, they'd pick the second one. Of course it hurt you, but I don't think it reveals some great moral failing of his. He was a young person grappling with a very traumatic fact that his identity changed when it came out that half of his DNA came from a completely different person than he thought. Of the people who were traumatized by this paternity revelation, I think his trauma would equal to or even be worse than yours, particularly since he was so young when it happened. So you would be the arsehole for missing out on a chance to get your son back. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. But at least you know. Opie says, Noah stopped thinking of me as a dad long before I stopped considering him my son. So I want to ask, can two people still consider family if they stop thinking and treating each other as family and there's no blood relation? My licorice life replies to that saying, of course they can. People choose their family all the time. My daughter still calls my ex-husband dad, even though he's technically no longer a stepdad. And she has a relationship with her bio dad. There's always room for more love. There's a lot of hurt on both sides of your situation, so reconciliation won't be exactly easy. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. Opie said, but again, Noah chose to reject me, and I eventually got tired of being rejected and stopped thinking of him in that way. He's choosing me, when it seems like he can't try for anyone else, and I don't choose that. You mentioned your daughter, but did she at any point stop calling your ex-dad, and then change her mind later? Is her bio-dad involved in any way? And if he was, would she still be calling your ex-dad? And Opie adds an edit for the post and says edit for info. Just to be clear, because I keep seeing this, I divorced my ex when Noah was 6. My ex told Noah the truth about his parentage and when he was 10, and his real dad came into his life at around 12. This all didn't just happen when he was 13. By the time he reached that age, he already had at least a year to process the information. When I asked my daughter, since Noah wasn't talking to me, if she thought her mum was pushing Noah to say those things, she said no. Apparently Noah wanted to spend time with his dad, but because of his work schedule it wasn't always often. But when it could happen, it was conveniently during my scheduled time with Noah. I tried to see if we could work something out, but my ex and Noah refused any compromise. So it was 2 months after that post that Opie came in with an update and says, "First, I just wanted to say thank you to all the messages and comments and support. It really feels nice to have my feelings validated. After a lot of thought, I decided to follow my wife's advice and write an actual letter to Noah regardless of whether or not I intended to send it. I explained to Noah how much he hurt me by refusing to see me, never inviting me to important events in his life, not wanting to meet or spend time with my son via my new wife, and how legally changing his surname cut deep. I also wrote that in spite of everything, I still didn't take any pleasure in hearing about his father's rejection of him, as I understand how hurtful that can be. I said that even though I knew he was young, I was still angry over what he did, and a part of me felt resentful towards all the time, love, and money I spent on him when I technically didn't have to. This letter felt very cleansing, and I read it a couple of times before burning it. In the end, I decided to reach out to Noah and ask my daughter for his new number. He changed it when he was 19 and didn't give me his new one. I sent Noah a message reiterating how sorry I was at how his father treated him, but I was hurt, how it felt like I was being treated as a last resort, and the circumstances of his desire to reconnect doesn't make me trust the relationship. I told him that I was willing to have some type of relationship with him again, but only under these specific guidelines. 1. Don't call me dad, or refer to me as father in any way. We can readdress this in the future, but right now it honestly feels too soon. 2. Don't ever ask me for money, cosigns for anything either. I'm not going to be his personal ATM for any reason. 3. You invite me to your things, I'll invite you to mine. 4. He's free to complain or talk to his bio dad with or around me, but he needs to understand that I have no kind of words for that man, and will either say negative things or nothing at all. 5. I expect him to be nice to my son and new wife and treat them with respect. 6. Don't go running to your mum in regards to information about my wife or son's lives, as it's none of her business. 7. Don't go running to your mother or sister for any problems you have with me. Either talk about it man to man or find someone else. I don't want them trying to put themselves into our business. 8. He needs to understand that going forward, our relationship, if we continue to pursue one, is going to be different and will take more work on his end than mine, as he is less of a priority to me now that he's an adult. 9. When I die, the majority of my assets will be split between his sister and my son through my current wife, and he will only be left a minimum requirement for him to not have grounds to sue. Again, I'm not going to be his cash cow. The rest of you can agree or disagree, but these are my terms if Noah wants any type of direct communication with me going forward, as this is the only way that I feel comfortable and how I believe I can protect myself if Noah ever becomes hurtful. This will also be his last chance, and if he disappoints me again, then I'm prepared to wash my hands of him, because I have more to live for than just waiting to be loved by someone. Oh dearie me, that was a pretty bleak one, wasn't it? And I totally get that last comment, especially about OP wanting to protect their peace in the end. A lot of people were mentioning that he's talking a lot about money, but also on Noah's end as well. He was young when this all happened, and people talking about childhood trauma, which is absolutely the case in this situation. It just makes me think what happened in his childhood with potential manipulation and all those kind of things. Really, really messy. And now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's have one more story. This was a suggested one over on social media to me. Thank you so much. You know who you are. It's from the True Off My Chest subreddit from Background Main 9216. And it says, I talked to the dead first husband of my wife and my stepdaughter. The obligatory English isn't my first language, but I am on desktop. Trigger warning of death. I met her almost 2 decades ago. It was a party at a lake at the local university. We liked each other, but our lives were very, very different. I was finishing school that year. I had to do my year of service for my country, called civic duty. We don't have it anymore, and we would go to university far away. She didn't finish school, but she started working early. I lived in a small town with my mother. She already had her own apartment in a really rundown district of a huge city. It just didn't work. We kept in contact over the years. I wouldn't say we were friends. We were people who liked to catch up via text or phone every 6 to 10 months. When I was home, we hooked up, but this stopped when she met her soon-to-be husband. I can't tell you anything about him because I never met him in person. They fell in love, married, and she got pregnant with a daughter. They were happy together. I didn't really care. I thought it was sad that we didn't talk anymore, but I understood. I wasn't as lucky as her when it came to relationships. If you read my comments to other posts, you will see that I had my fair share of problems. I kind of accepted that I would never have a family, a stable relationship, or at least more than 3 days in a row not being depressed. Let's say alcohol isn't the best idea in such a situation. At least I was high functioning. I did really good in university and started a career. It brought me back in my home region. I hadn't heard from her in several years. What I didn't know? My life was a cakewalk compared to hers at this time. Her husband got killed in a car crash. Some arsehole was DUI. Not me, but it was one more argument for me to stop, and thought he could make the turn before her husband would pass. He couldn't. I never asked for more details. She doesn't like this topic, and I try to respect it. She couldn't handle what happened and ended in a clinic for her mental health. Her daughter was with her mother at the time. The day she was released, she had her own car crash. Turned out the doctors weren't joking when they told her she shouldn't drive with the drugs they were giving her. Back to the clinic. Here she saw on the book of faces that I was back. She wrote me and I answered. I visited her. She liked that I wasn't cursing at her for driving drugged. I didn't think I had the right to do it, given my love to alcohol. I won't bore you with the details of how it proceeded. We married and built a house together. Her daughter didn't like me at first, but we bonded the second I bought a PS5. She's a gamer. We jokingly say these are my genes. Neither her mum nor her dad liked it. My wife has gotten really good in pretending though, but I return the favor in pretending I like horses. Don't worry, she won't find this. She can hardly use the printer of a computer. My stepdaughter calls me by my first name. I like it. After what I heard, she had an amazing dad. I never wanted to be a father, and I don't think I would be a good one. I told her that I didn't wish to replace her dad. She only believed me when I said to her that I would need the PS5 the whole evening. She would need to use her PS4 in her room to play Minecraft with her friends. She said something along the lines that good parents would share the console. I reminded her that I'm not her parent. She started laughing. Her mum hates me for that because she needs to be the one setting all the rules. I understand that some of you probably think I should help her with it, not just be the everything goes stepdad. But she accepts me and she feels at home in our house. Her mum did and does an amazing job raising her. I think I do my best by respecting her and demanding respect when it comes to my stuff. She knows she can always ask me for advice, and I am far better in helping her with her homework than her mother. Every year they visit his grave the day it happened. At the beginning I asked her if she wanted me out of the house that day, because I understand they need the hours for themselves. In the third year they asked me to drive them. I waited in the car. We went to a restaurant afterwards. It was very silent. I had no idea what to talk about. The thing is, I'm incredibly happy. I was gifted with a family I love. I had given up on it. I really had. But I feel incredible guilt because a good man had to die for my happiness. So once every 3 months I visit his grave on my own and talk to him. They didn't know it. I have no intention telling them. I thank him and tell him about his wife and his daughter and his parents. If I happen to know something about them, they have trouble with me. They're cordial, but I can see it in their face. When I bring my daughter or come and get her, it shouldn't be me who does it, and nothing will ever change that. Today is the day they will visit him. When my wife comes home from work and my daughter is home from school, I think I will visit him the next days and tell him about this post. Tell him about other people knew he existed and he did an amazing job. Thanks, dear reader, for reading until here. I hope it wasn't too weird. I'm not sure if I will answer any questions. Writing about me feeling guilty because of his death already feels really hard. Oh, those bloody onion ninjas are around again. What an absolutely lovely guy. And I think we're going to leave that one here. But what do you guys make of this situation? Gotta go and dry my eyes now. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so, so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, you just don't